Perfectionism. It's a term that everyone seems to know, especially in today's world dominated by social media and instant feedback. Do you often wait for the perfect moment to start something? Maybe it's writing that article, launching that project, or connecting with an important person. You tell yourself over and over again, just wait until everything is ready. But the reality is, most of the time, that perfect moment never comes. Have you ever found yourself stuck in this situation, waiting for the right conditions, waiting for your confidence to return, or waiting for inspiration to strike, only to keep putting things off and watch opportunities slip away? This isn't a coincidence. It's a common trap in modern society, especially for young people. In an increasingly competitive environment, it's easy to be afraid of taking that first step, worrying that starting will expose your flaws. But this constant waiting mindset is what leads us into the depths of anxiety, procrastination, and confusion. But have you ever stopped to consider that all these worries, and even the procrastination, are side effects of an excessive pursuit of perfection? We often trap ourselves in the thought, if everything could be perfect, I'd be able to start, overlooking the fact that there's no such thing as the perfect moment, only the courage to start now and take action. So why are we always held back by perfectionism, unable to take that first step? If you want to break free from this cycle, to truly start acting and live in the present, you've come to the right place. Today, we'll discuss how to escape the perfectionism trap, to actually begin, and to live in this very moment. What follows will show you why perfectionism causes us to miss out on opportunities and share how you can break free by taking immediate action and stepping into your own path. Moreover, we'll draw wisdom from history, particularly Stoic philosophy, to find answers to tackling this challenge. So before you decide whether to keep watching, I want you to think about one question. How would your life change if you started taking action today? Keep watching because the content ahead will change the way you think about the perfect moment and immediate action, and provide practical steps to help you take that first step toward a better life in an imperfect world. Perfectionism, a trait that often seems harmless or even positive, actually hides a huge psychological burden. Perhaps you've had this experience. You know something is important to do, but you can never find the right moment or simply keep procrastinating. You might tell yourself, wait until everything is ready to start, but the moment to begin always feels out of reach. You're not alone. Modern psychological research reveals that perfectionists often fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect conditions, hoping that both the external environment and their inner feelings will be ideal before they take the first step. But this mindset often keeps us stuck in place, unable to move forward. Psychologists point out that the core motivation of perfectionists is a strong fear of failure. In their view, any imperfect action will expose their flaws and shortcomings, which may lead others to judge them negatively. To avoid the embarrassment of this risk, they choose to delay action, waiting for what seems like the perfect moment. Yet, it is this obsession with perfection that prevents them from ever starting. This phenomenon is called the over-preparation effect, a state where a person gets stuck in overthinking and planning, ultimately losing the motivation to take action due to excessive contemplation. Behind this over-preparation often lies a deep fear of failure. Perfectionists often believe that only by achieving perfection can they earn the approval, respect, and even love of others. When they can't meet this unrealistic standard, they feel self-doubt and anxiety. This emotional stress exacerbates their procrastination, trapping them in a cycle of waiting for the perfect moment. Another psychological phenomenon closely related to perfectionism is perfectionistic procrastination, or the mindset of, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. This has been widely studied and named by psychologists, revealing the root cause of procrastination. Perfectionists often delay completing tasks because they fear they won't meet their ideal standards. Perhaps you've experienced this yourself, wanting to do something, but abandoning it because you fear you won't do it well enough. You think that if it can't be done perfectly, then it's not worth doing at all, and this mindset leads to repeated procrastination. Perfectionistic procrastination isn't just a lack of action. It's essentially a form of avoidance avoiding failure, avoiding mistakes, avoiding uncomfortable emotions. This psychological mechanism keeps you waiting for the perfect time, but that time will never come. As time passes, your anxiety increases, and the accumulation of tasks makes you feel more and more powerless. Through research into perfectionism and procrastination, modern psychologists have uncovered how this mindset intensifies inner conflict and unease. We are constantly afraid of imperfection, afraid of failure, afraid of being judged by others, yet we overlook an important fact. True growth and progress never happen in perfection. They happen in imperfection, through continuous action and adjustment, gradually moving toward a better version of ourselves. So, we no longer need the perfect moment or perfect preparation. The only thing you can control is the action you take right now. And it is this realization that helps us break free from the trap of perfectionism and truly face ourselves, taking action. The core principle of Stoicism can be simply summarized as a pursuit of inner peace, emphasizing a rational approach to life's challenges and uncontrollable circumstances. The founders of Stoic philosophy, including Zeno and later thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, advocated for achieving freedom and tranquility of the mind by mastering oneself and accepting the uncontrollable. The wisdom of Stoicism lies in the idea: we cannot control the external world, but we can control our reactions. This is particularly relevant in a modern society saturated with perfectionism. Perfectionism often arises from an excessive focus on the external world. Many people tend to wait for the perfect moment or best conditions, believing that they should act only when everything is flawless. However, Stoicism teaches us that the pursuit of perfection is often futile, as many factors, such as other people's opinions, environmental changes, and even future outcomes, are beyond our control. Stoic philosophy helps us distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot, guiding us to focus our energy on aspects of life that truly impact us. Stoicism clearly defines what is controllable and what is uncontrollable. What we can control are our actions, attitudes, and emotions, how we choose to respond, how we manage stress, how we think and act. What is uncontrollable includes external circumstances, other people's reactions, and future outcomes. We cannot control the weather tomorrow, the opinions of others, or the results of our actions. The wisdom of Stoicism lies in the reminder to avoid wasting energy on things we cannot change and to concentrate on managing what we can. This distinction between what is controllable and what is uncontrollable is especially important for perfectionists. Perfectionists often have a strong desire to control outcomes, fearing they will fall short of perfect standards, which leads to procrastination and anxiety. Stoic teachings tell us that what is worth pursuing is not a perfect result, but our control over the process. While we cannot predict every outcome, we can ensure that the choices we make during the process are the right ones. Marcus Aurelius wrote in *Meditations*, "The only thing you can control is your action in the present moment." He emphasizes that, in a world where we cannot control the future or external circumstances, the only thing we can control is our choices in the here and now. This statement reminds us that when we focus too much on waiting for the perfect moment, we stray from the essence of life, focusing on action itself rather than obsessing over the outcome. Modern perfectionists often fall into procrastination while waiting for the best time or perfect conditions, not realizing that this waiting only intensifies anxiety because the perfect moment will never come. Stoicism teaches us that the key is not the perfect moment, but how we control our actions and mindset. Marcus Aurelius also stated, "The only constant in life is change." This perspective reminds us that external environments and various life factors are always in flux, and we cannot control everything. For perfectionists, this constant pursuit of perfect control often causes them to overlook their own internal power, the ability to act and manage their attitude. Stoic wisdom urges us to turn our focus inward, focusing on how to respond to challenges, how to act, and how to remain calm and rational rather than waiting for the perfect time. Moreover, Epictetus, in *on self-discipline*, also said, It's not about how things are on the outside, but how we respond. This aligns with the basic tenets of Stoic philosophy, emphasizing that while we cannot control the final outcome of situations, we can control our responses. When faced with imperfect conditions, choosing to act immediately rather than waiting for the perfect moment is the wisest choice. Through these classical texts, we see that Stoic philosophy encourages us to let go of our obsession with the perfect moment and focus on doing our best in every task. This internal-driven action is the key to breaking free from perfectionism and overcoming procrastination. Stoic philosophy, by reminding us to focus on what is controllable, provides a powerful psychological tool for modern individuals, helping us escape the trap of perfectionism and take the first step toward real action. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, was deeply influenced by Stoic philosophy throughout his life. Despite being at the height of power, he maintained a calm demeanor and practiced self-reflection. His work Meditations is not only a record of his personal thoughts, but also a guide for later generations on how to face life's challenges and maintain inner peace. In this work, Aurelius repeatedly emphasizes a core idea: you have control over only the present action. This notion remains profoundly relevant to our lives today, especially for those bound by perfectionism. Aurelius's wisdom helps us realize an important fact. No matter how the external world fluctuates, the only thing we can control is the action we take in the present moment. Perfectionism often stems from an excessive worry about future outcomes. In the pursuit of perfection, people often fall into endless waiting and preparation, afraid that starting now will not meet their ideal standards. This mindset leads us to delay action and miss many opportunities for growth. However, Marcus Aurelius's philosophy warns us that the perfect moment does not exist. The past is gone, the future is unpredictable, and the only thing we can control is the choice and action of the present. He wrote in Meditations you have control over only the present action. This insight is a profound lesson for perfectionists. Perfection is not the prerequisite for action. Action itself is the driving force for change and growth. Aurelius's thoughts are not confined to personal behavior, but emphasize the inner power of action. He believed that action itself is a form of power, the greatest energy we can display in the present moment. Regardless of how the external environment changes or whether the results align with our expectations, the most important thing is the action we take at this moment. This way of thinking opposes the tendency to project anxiety and fear onto the unknown outcomes of the future, and instead stresses the importance of taking control of our destiny through action in every moment. Aurelius said, "Action itself is freedom." This phrase conveys the idea that each act of action frees us from the constraints brought on by uncertainty, granting us freedom in the present. Aurelius placed great value on immediate action, believing that it is key to personal growth and overcoming procrastination. Perfectionists often hesitate to take the first step due to a fear of imperfection. They worry that their actions will not meet their ideal standards, leading to unnecessary anxiety. Aurelius emphasized that the most important thing is not the result, but whether we dare to act. He wrote, "We have control only over the actions we take in the present moment." This statement encourages us to start now, letting go of our obsession with perfection and focusing our energy on what we can do in the present. By accepting Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, we come to realize that immediate action is an effective way to overcome procrastination. Many people delay tasks because of a fear of imperfection. Their inner self-doubt and fear of failure prevent them from acting until they believe they are ready. However, the greatest problem of perfectionists is their constant wait for the perfect moment, which will never arrive. In reality, no moment is perfect. True growth comes from each small action, and it is through these actions that we gain experience, refine our methods, and continue moving forward. The power of immediate action lies in its ability to break the cycle of waiting and anxiety. Many perfectionists, when facing a task, are accustomed to excessive thinking and preparation, but this preparation often has no end. They are always worried about missing some detail or not having considered every step. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that while we cannot control the changing external world, we can control our behavior in the present. If we are always worried about failure, we will never start. If we are always waiting for perfect conditions, we will remain stagnant. By choosing immediate action, we can break this cycle and no longer allow perfectionism to hinder our progress. The mindset of immediate action also helps us overcome the fear of failure. Perfectionists often view failure as a disaster, believing that failing means they are not good enough or not perfect. This mindset makes them fearful of taking risks and trying new things. However, Marcus Aurelius teaches us that failure is not to be feared. The real mistake is in not acting. Every failure is an opportunity for learning, and every attempt brings new insights. The important thing is not whether we achieve the goal, but whether we are willing to try, whether we are gaining valuable experience along the way. Therefore, true power comes from our ability to take the first step in the face of uncertainty. Through Marcus Aurelius's philosophy, we not only learn how to face procrastination and anxiety, but also understand the power of action itself. No matter what challenges we face, we can break free from the shackles of perfectionism through immediate action. Action is the starting point of self-overcoming, and every action gives us the momentum to move forward. While the results of each action may not be perfect, the experience and growth we gain in the process are irreplaceable. This mindset liberates us from anxiety and helps us focus on the present moment when we can take practical steps. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom provides us with an effective way to overcome perfectionism and break the cycle of procrastination. Through the mindset of immediate action, we can truly take control of our fate and promote personal growth. As he said in Meditations, you have control only over the present action. This simple yet profound statement shows us the way forward. At any moment, action itself is power. It is the key to our freedom and success. Throughout history, some individuals have become legendary figures due to their bold decisions and fearless actions. Their success didn't come from perfect conditions or extraordinary talents, but from their ability to make decisive choices and take action in imperfect circumstances. These historical figures were not only practitioners of Stoic philosophy, but also living examples that show how, even in the face of uncertainty and challenges, we can create miracles through action. In this section, we will explore the stories of several historical figures and see how they overcame seemingly imperfect conditions and changed the fate of themselves and the world. General Scipio's decision, turning the tide in desperation. In the 2nd century BC, during the Second Punic War between Rome and Carthage, Rome found itself in an incredibly dire situation. Scipio Africanus, a young general, was leading Rome's military forces, and they were facing the fierce onslaught of the Carthaginian general Hannibal. Hannibal, with his brilliant military strategies and tactics, had repeatedly defeated Roman armies, putting Rome under immense pressure. In the face of such despair, Scipio did not wait for a perfect time or for victory to be assured, but decisively took action and changed the course of the war. Instead of confronting Hannibal directly on Roman soil, Scipio chose to attack Carthage itself. This decision was filled with risks, but Scipio understood that by striking at the heart of the enemy, he could weaken Hannibal's forces. Through a series of bold tactics, he forced Hannibal to retreat back to Carthage, and ultimately, in the Battle of Zama, Scipio secured a decisive victory. This victory not only ended the war between Rome and Carthage, but also solidified Scipio as one of history's greatest military commanders. Scipio's success didn't come from having perfect resources or inherent advantages. Rather, it stemmed from his ability to make rapid decisions and take bold actions in the face of the most unfavorable circumstances. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. Instead, he seized the situation he could control at that moment, demonstrating the immense power of action itself. Seneca, a life of action despite adversity. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and statesman, exemplifies the principle of action in his life. Although a philosopher, he didn't remain confined to the world of theory, but applied Stoic ideas to his personal experience. Seneca's life was full of turmoil. He was exiled due to political strife and faced significant personal challenges in his later years. Yet even in adversity, Seneca adhered to the belief in acting immediately, confronting difficulties head-on instead of waiting for the so-called perfect moment. In one of his famous letters, Seneca wrote, "Do not wait for the perfect moment in the future, but begin to act in the present." This statement reflects his life philosophy. Action is paramount, even in the least perfect circumstances. Seneca didn't just philosophize about this. He lived it. During times when his political position was weakened and life became more challenging, Seneca didn't passively wait for fate to intervene, but continued to influence society through writing and thought, maintaining inner calm and clarity. He didn't wait for perfect conditions to begin acting, but instead, he consistently found areas he could control in the present and used his efforts to influence the world. His courage and persistence allowed his philosophical ideas to transcend time, influencing countless people long after his death. Augustus, action in the face of political uncertainty. Another historical figure who demonstrates action in imperfect conditions is Augustus, Rome's first emperor. His political career was filled with challenges and uncertainty. In 31 BC, before the Battle of Actium, Rome was politically divided, and Augustus faced enormous pressure from Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Despite the complexity of the situation, Augustus didn't wait for the situation to resolve itself naturally, but decisively took military action. This action solidified his position as ruler of Rome. Socrates, the philosopher who acted without waiting for perfection. Though Socrates was not part of the Roman world, his influence on Stoic philosophy is undeniable. His life itself was a demonstration of the power of action. Socrates firmly believed that through questioning and self-reflection, one could find truth. Throughout his life, he never waited for perfect conditions to spread his philosophy. Despite societal pressures and opposition, he chose to speak out, sharing his views on morality and wisdom. Eventually, he was sentenced to death for spreading heretical ideas, but his philosophical thoughts profoundly impacted Western philosophy's development. The power of action in imperfect conditions. The success of figures like Scipio, Seneca, Augustus, and Socrates shows us that their achievements were not simply the result of inherent talent, but came from their ability to take action. These figures, faced with extreme imperfections in their circumstances, made quick decisions and acted with determination to secure success. Their stories offer us an important lesson. Waiting for the perfect moment is often futile, and the real change in our lives comes from acting in the present moment. From these stories, we can draw deep inspiration. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to overly rely on external, perfect conditions, but to learn how to control our actions in the present. When faced with challenges, we can draw courage from these historical figures, knowing that even under imperfect circumstances, we still have the power to decide and act. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can continue moving forward and create our own miracles in every aspect of life. Perfectionism, the little monster that quietly lurks in our minds, always tells us, wait for the right moment. Wait until you're better prepared, wait until everything is under control, and then you can begin. It sounds so tempting, as though everything will fall into place just as we imagined. But then we realize that a year has passed, even 10 years, and we're still stuck in waiting. The perfect moment, it seems, is nothing but an illusion. In this fast-moving world, waiting for the perfect time is less effective than acting immediately. As Marcus Aurelius said in Meditations, the only thing you can control is your present action, and it's through our actions that we can truly change our fate. So how do we break free from the endless cycle of waiting for the perfect moment and start living a life of immediate action? Let's find our rhythm of action. First, we need to break free from the mindset of perfectionism. The trap of perfectionism is that it keeps pushing things off, waiting for an ideal moment that will never come. To change this mindset, the first important step is accept imperfection. Imperfection isn't failure. It's a part of life and a catalyst for growth. Imagine if you started today, if only with a small step, tomorrow you would be one step closer to your goal. But if you wait for the perfect time, that step might never come. So how do we do this? The first step is to consciously recognize that we can't control the future. The only thing we can control is the present. Using the perfect moment as an excuse is actually wasting our most precious resource, today. Tell yourself, the perfect moment will never come, so I'll start now. If you're used to procrastinating and waiting, the change might be difficult at first. Just like when your alarm rings in the morning, your first instinct might be to hit the snooze button. But remember, every time you hit snooze, you're wasting an opportunity to transform your day. So, step out of the cycle, push yourself out of your comfort zone, and don't let perfect tomorrow be an excuse for delayed action. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. I need to act now, but where do I begin? Don't worry, you don't have to start by running to the top. You can begin with small actions. Taking small steps is one of the best tools to break free from perfectionism. For example, let's say you want to write a book, but you keep waiting for inspiration to strike and for the perfect time. Months could go by and the first page might still be unwritten. Instead, set a small goal. Write 100 words a day. Even if those words don't make sense or aren't perfectly structured, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you've started. The power of these small actions is immense. The first imperfect step you take is actually the key to breaking through the barrier of perfectionism. Remember, action itself is power. By taking small steps every day and building momentum, those small actions will eventually accumulate into significant progress. This approach not only relieves the pressure of perfectionism, but also gives you the space to embrace mistakes and imperfections, enjoying the process of taking action. You might think this sounds simple, but it's this simple power that will help you gradually overcome procrastination, break through self-imposed limits, and begin to see remarkable progress. When you decide to act now, the most important thing is to create a clear action plan. Don't fall into the trap of someday or waiting for better conditions. Now is the best time to start. First, set clear goals. Goals that are specific and actionable. If your goal is too vague, you'll likely procrastinate because uncertain goals make it hard to focus. For example, if your goal is to improve your health, that's too broad. Be more specific. Perhaps walk at least 5,000 steps a day or do strength training 3 times a week. These smaller goals are not only actionable but also sustainable. Next, set achievable timeframes. Don't create a perfect schedule, but break your tasks down into manageable chunks. For example, if your goal is writing, break it down to complete the outline of the first chapter today, rather than write the entire book. Reward yourself for accomplishing small goals to keep your motivation high. Finally, here's a small trick before you start: the 5-second rule. When you think of a task, don't give yourself too much time to hesitate or procrastinate. Give yourself 5 seconds to decide, and once those 5 seconds are up, take immediate action. If you wait too long, perfectionism will sneak up and give you reasons to back out. The 5-second rule helps you resist procrastination and dive straight into action. Perfectionism is a massive trap that keeps us stuck. Today is the best time to change. Transition from waiting for the perfect moment to taking immediate action. Step out of your comfort zone and begin taking those first steps. You'll find that with each small step you take, the power of action will quietly reshape your life's path. Remember, don't wait for tomorrow's perfect moment. Start today, and your future self will thank you for every step you take now. The ultimate goal of Stoic philosophy is to help us live a fulfilling and meaningful life, but this goal is not achieved through daydreaming, waiting, or waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, it emphasizes experiencing life through practical action, embracing challenges, and courageously facing imperfection, ultimately leading to inner peace and satisfaction. Stoic philosophy teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can control our reactions and actions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in *Meditations*, we cannot control the external storms, but we can choose how to steer the ship. In other words, the meaning of life doesn't come from a flawless environment. It comes from how we respond in each imperfect moment. Stoic philosophy emphasizes immediate action. Action itself is the key to breaking free from the shackles of perfectionism and achieving our life goals. We may face imperfect conditions, unpredictable challenges, and countless obstacles, but these are not reasons to stop taking action. In fact, it is through these challenges that we have the opportunity to build our inner strength by responding to imperfections and gradually moving toward a fulfilling and meaningful life. So, how can we integrate the wisdom of Stoic philosophy into our daily lives? Practicing Stoicism does not mean giving up our desire for a good life, but learning to let go of the obsession with perfect timing, acting swiftly, and growing from each action with wisdom. The first step is to recognize that we cannot control the outcomes of the future. One of the key tenets of Stoic philosophy is that we do not have complete control over external events, but the only thing we can control is our choices. When faced with difficulties, ask yourself, what can I do? Instead of waiting for perfect conditions or everything to be ready. We must learn to accept imperfection, embrace the challenges of life, and take the first step courageously. The second step is to make immediate action a habit. In Stoic philosophy, action is not just a spur-of-the-moment impulse, but a persistent habit. This means that even in the face of difficulty and uncertainty, we can still choose to act. For example, whenever we feel anxious or procrastinate, we can start with a small action, such as writing down a simple plan, setting a tiny goal, or taking a step that can be executed immediately. These small actions, though imperfect, are enough to clear the internal resistance of procrastination and gradually bring us closer to our goal. Stoic philosophy teaches that the meaning of life is not found in waiting for a perfect moment, but in how we respond to the imperfections in our lives through action. By consistently practicing this philosophy, we not only achieve our goals but also find inner peace along the way. When we no longer expect perfection from the outside world and instead focus on how to act in every moment, we will realize that the meaning of life has already manifested in our actions. By practicing Stoic philosophy, we can draw experience and strength from every challenge and every action, and this process itself becomes the source of a fulfilling life. Action, far more than waiting for the perfect moment, is what allows us to feel the depth and breadth of life. As Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said, "Imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction." Starting today, let go of the burden of perfectionism, boldly begin and embrace the challenges of imperfection. Each step will bring you closer to a fulfilling and meaningful life. If you found this share insightful, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and get more inspiration and ideas. Also, feel free to leave a comment below to share your thoughts and experiences. And remember to share this video with others who are working hard toward their goals. Let's move forward together in action and explore a better version of ourselves.